Hey, what's up guys? My Hero Deku here. You're gonna have to excuse the bit of an iffy microphone setup as my headphones broke and I need to save up the money to get a new one, which will be after December because of Christmas and saving money for that. But without further ado, let's get into the video, which I know is also late. Sorry, school keeps you busy, you know? But this chapter was pretty good. I like the explanation that we got right off the bat with how Mirio got his quirk back. Of course, what most of us expected turned out to obviously be right, with it being Eri just returning his quirk to him with the practice and rewind she's been doing the last couple of months. Now in time, it's only been 6 months or so, as they said, which is not too long of a time to be out of the game, but enough to I feel like Deku's made some progress to catch up, which I feel like was the point of Mirio losing his powers in the greater scheme of the story, because obviously they said before that he was the closest one to All Might at the time. So that's interesting to see, of course, and it's just kind of fun to see him messing around and using permeation to kind of help in the battlefield. In particular, when he was talking about how even though he's got his powers back, he can't take out Nomu's in one hit and still needs help. Then he kind of blasts out. We kind of see Bakugo then talking about how like he's never felt this close to death's door and how it's pretty crazy how many high impact explosions he's given off there. Of course, this is when we see Mirio on the field there, and obviously we see Nejire isn't dead, which is good. Would have sucked if we lost one of the big three in like one hit. That would have been underwhelming considering they're supposed to be the big three of the best hero school. But of course, one of the highlights of the chapter for a lot of people, and I know myself included, was we got Bakugo's great hero name, God of Explosive Destruction, Dynamite. Now, I like the pun there, being Dyna and then might, like dynamite, but spelled Dynamite, like strength, which was pretty cool, but I like people laughing at it because obviously it is kind of a dorky name, but it fits, it works, it's kind of got a nice feel to it, and it definitely seems like something he would have come up with to me, so I'm personally happy with that. As long as he drops the God of Explosive Destruction, I have no issues with that. I think it was pretty cool. Again, some nice banter with Mirio there, just talking about, that's a good hero name, it's pretty funny, and saying without joy and laughter to balance the sorrow, the world can never have hope to brighten the future. Now, I know a lot of people like Mirio already, myself included, but it really is nice to have him back in the fold, especially in something this kind of catastrophic and important to the future of Hero Society. I feel like it's going to be kind of his influence and people like him that are going to keep Hero Society from completely collapsing, along with, of course, stuff like Best Genius being a contradiction to his story and kind of Endeavor's public image that he's kind of worked to increase over the recent chapters. Now, obviously, I don't think that's going to counteract everything. That would be stupid to think that everything was just going to go away, especially with how much there is on Endeavor that we know he's done in the past, but I do still think there's hope for the Hero Society. Now, they've no doubt lost this battle. Dabi's play was just too good to have no destruction there, especially with him being Toya Todoroki, but still interesting nonetheless to kind of see how that's going to play out. I'm interested to see how they're going to handle it because, like, obviously characters like Endeavor are going to have to do what they can to balance out the blow to his reputation because he's the one who's really lost it, as well as Shoto, who wasn't really involved, but just now that the name is tainted, he's going to have to deal with that as well. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see how Hero Society at large kind of has to deal with that, because I don't think it's going to be limited to just Endeavor with how much damage has been done to the whole societal system that their entire civilization is based on at this point. Of course, that being said, one of my favorite moments, being the Deku fanboy that I am, was when Dami was talking about, I wonder what kind of face the dear old dad will be making when he burns Shoto to a crisp, and then Deku comes in using Black Whip from his tongue, just copying like Froppy's kind of style of move, which was pretty cool. I never even really thought about the idea of him using it that way, and I don't think many people did. Hadn't seen it talked about before then, and it was interesting to see now. It was also interesting to see, obviously, Dabi tell him that it doesn't involve him, it's a family matter, and Deku just kind of saying, I'm meddling because Todoroki is a friend. And, like, again, it's cheesy, it's the shonen kind of trope, but it definitely holds true to how he acts in the past and how he keeps acting now, and I appreciate it. But the part that got to me was where he talks about just looking towards the present that Endeavor is working towards and kind of moving forward to in the future and trying to be a better person, and how he's a precious mentor that's helped him. And it seemed like that actually touched Endeavor, which isn't surprising with how Endeavor is now, but wasn't necessarily something I expected to see from Midoriya necessarily. Now, I remember talking about in the last chapter that I was surprised that Best Jeanist could actually hold down Gigantomachia, and we saw here that after those orders from Shigaraki, he did eventually break free, but I'm still impressed he held him that long. And in particular, Endeavor kind of pulling an All Might against All for One and kind of just taking him down with that last blow. Obviously, we can see he's kind of just bleeding from the mouth, but it was still impressive nonetheless. And then we find out it was because of that anesthetic from a couple of chapters ago. I don't even remember how long. It's been at least 3 months because I wasn't making chapter videos yet at that point, and it's been a little bit now. But it was definitely interesting to see that play out, because I didn't really expect the anesthetic to come back into play at this point. I kind of just thought it had been a thing where he was immune, and obviously it gave Kirishima a nice moment of character growth, because he kind of got to move back on that time in his past that held him back, and he felt like he couldn't do anything, and kind of go in against the same opponent now and do something. But to see that that actually helped and ended up being what allowed Endeavor to take out the opponent now was something I felt really happy about for him. And also Muriel as well, talking about like delivering the message to the field and saying it was just kind of a thread that had been woven by other people, thread of hope, which has been kind of the theme since Best Jeanist came back. And I like the little pun there as well, obviously, but just in general it's a nice message, especially even more so going into the future, where obviously we're going to have to deal with the repercussions that come from this big war. But overall, it's just a really good chapter. Now, obviously, a lot was packed into this one. I would not be surprised if I missed something, so be sure to let me know down below in the comments if there's something you think I missed, misunderstood, anything like that. I like talking about it. I label these discussions and not reviews for a reason, and that's because I'd like to discuss the chapter with you guys. But that being said, this is My Hero Deku, signing off.